It's Craig Paulus with Paulus Title, and again, I'm a title agent and a lawyer and a guy who likes the sound of his own voice. So I wanted to talk to you today about, build on what we talked about last time with escalation clauses, about how to make your escalation clauses so much better, how to take them to the next level. And if you're receiving one, how to tell this person is got the offer you want to take, because the highest offer isn't necessarily the best. And this is what's going to make yours the best, okay? Two things: the financing clause, and that's next time, and the appraisal clause. Because if you've written a great escalation clause and says, we're going to offer you X, or $1,000 more than the next bona fide offer, not to exceed whatever, that's wonderful. But if you're receiving one of those and it also says property must appraise at or above the purchase price, well, tell you what, there's no escalation clause. That's a garbage offer, okay? Appraisals are based on comparable sales that closed when? A couple months ago, right? And prices going up so fast the way they are when inventory is so low the way it is, necessarily you're going to have a lot of deals that just don't appraise. And rather than find yourself, talking your seller down to saying, well, this is the best we can get, hey, find an offer that'll give you more than an appraised value. Make an offer that's going to give the seller more so that you can get this property. So here's how you draft that kind of provision. And I'm going to read this, and I'm not reading it out of a book. This is a computer, okay? Okay, example, contracts for $400,000. And the contract has an escalation clause. And if it appraises for 410, you're not going to get better than 410, even if it escalates up to, 430. How do you communicate to the seller, I'm so serious about this property that I want to pay more than the appraiser says it's worth? I've personally had to do that before to get the house I wanted. And you know what? There's no magic in an appraisal. And the magic is simply that there's a third party telling you where he thinks a willing buyer and a willing seller meet on price. And you know what? When I bought my last house, I did have to pay a little bit more than an appraisal to get it done. And it's because it was exactly the right house. It's what it was worth to me, which was more than it was worth to the bank. So what I had to say was, or I didn't have to say it, but what I could have said in that instance was, here's the language: buyer may cancel this contract if the final purchase price, as modified by the escalation clause, exceeds the appraised value by more than $10,000. You pick a number. If the appraisal does not exceed the final sales price by more than $10,000, the buyer agrees to proceed to closing. Well, that's an awesome clause. That says, some other guy might have a higher escalated number, but guess what? If he's waiting for an appraisal, he's going to lose this deal. He ought to lose this deal. So a sophisticated realtor should see right through an appraisal clause with just absolutely guts an escalation clause. Okay? Don't fall for it. Don't lead your sellers into taking a contract that gives the buyer such a wonderful out, right? And at that point, really, if it's contingent, they could renegotiate you down, or they could just walk, right? And we don't want that to happen. I mean, sooner or later, the music's going to stop on this market, and when it does, you want to have your sellers under contract, right? So, the last little element here, and this is something for the listing agents to look for, and for the buyer's agents to remember when they're trying to put their best foot forward with an escalation clause that waives the appraisal: have proof of funds. Think about the proof of funds. If it were a cash offer, you would want to say, hey, show me that you've got this money before I accept your cash offer. Well, in the same way, this is saying I'm going to potentially be paying, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over asking price. Make sure they got the cash, okay? That should be pretty simple, but it's something that's easily forgotten. All right, well, I hope this helps. And in the meantime, if you need anything, give us a shout, and I appreciate you listening here.